Hey fellas, well, this is different from how I want to do this. I still want to do the other movies in the series. I just have to rework that. Now I'm going to be doing. I still want. I'm going to do a retrospective after this, but in the meantime, let's talk about Dark Phoenix, the final film in Fox's long X-Men saga, and the second adaptation of the Dark Phoenix storyline. After 2006's divisive X-Men The Last Stand. And so the story is much more direct adaptation, and even with all what I've heard about mine, I think the movie it's not the worst X-Men movie I've ever seen, but it's far from the best, admittedly. Only since, and I also admit sometimes, even with all this, since a superhero movie can surprise you. I wasn't expect. I didn't know. For example, I didn't know what to expect from Venom. Ended up really liking Venom. I definitely didn't know what to expect from Shazam, and I ended up really liking that. And now that I've seen this one, hmm, it's okay. I mean, it's not a worse adaptation of the Phoenix Saga than X3 was, but it's also not much better, to be honest. It merely exists. And the story takes place in 1992, which I was looking forward to see, but didn't really do much with it. I mean, apart from the way people dressed and some of the the, the electronics really wasn't that different as opposed to how they produced the time of previous films. Anyway, the X-Men have to go save a wayward space shuttle near the beginning when Jean Grey, played in this movie by Sophie Turner, her comes in contact with the mysterious engineers of the Phoenix Force, as well as an individual known as Vuk, played by Jessica Chastain. This also comes in contact with childhood trauma that was suppressed by James McAvoy, played by Charles Xavier, played by James McAvoy. Yeah, it's hard to tell. It also has similar issues that it's actually kind of confusing at points where, I mean, I can tell that the cast is definitely trying, but there's just not a whole lot I can do if the script isn't the best. I mean, yeah. So it's definitely he shows that this movie is the first attempt at and for directing it's him from Simon Kinberg, who co-wrote X3 as well as co-produced many of the subsequent X3 movies after that. At mean, which and also given how the film has had a fairly well documented production, I mean, it wasn't quite as disastrous as Fan Four Stick was, what I could gather, but the film did undergo very extensive reshoots that ended up ballooning its cost to $200 million. Seriously, they ended up redoing the entire third act, largely as a Captain Marvel, and at least they kept being shuffled around because apparently the whole finale on the train was not in the original cut of the movie. To think people are still looking for the Snyder cut. I mean, I don't even know what the original intention for this was, man. Granted, it's not quite as confusing as X-Men Origins Wolverine was. I mean, as you can tell, I'm still basically working out how I'm going to be doing my retrospective of the other movies. He's, but yeah, I mean, it really says something when a lot of characters don't make it all the way to the end, and yet it doesn't have the same impact as I thought it would. I mean, sure, I did things like take off my hat and respect for them, but uh, apart from that, it didn't really have the same emotional weight as I was expecting it to, which is kind of disappointing, and I'll admit that much, given how the story, hey, it usually has a lot more gravitas than this. I mean, as in, it may not be quite on the same order of magnitude as like turning Galactus and Parallax into CGI clouds, but or the infamous Weapon X1. But it's just that's how I don't even feel disappointed. I'm just kind of underwhelmed by it. I mean, since I guess I'm in an age where Marvel's put out a lot of good stuff over the past decade or so, and also after how moving Logan was as finale for the Wolverine and the Prime timeline, as well as how darkly humorous Deadpool movies have been. I just get a lot harder to impress. I mean, it's not that I don't think that a darker story like this can work. Heck, my favorite movie is A Dark Knight still. I mean, it's just that in execution, this film is quite flawed, and it's not the disaster her I was worried it would be. A part of me was, but it's also not the most ideal way for the series to go out on, since given how long I've been following this narrative. I mean, I saw the first one on at home when I was 8 years old in 2000, and I've seen them all in some ways since then. Even the lesser ones I've seen more than once, which I'll be useful for when I start writing, when I want to write the scripts of the other movies. But while this Phoenix and this franchise may not be going out in a blaze of glory, hurry, hey, there is an opportunity for the film to rise, for the series to rise from the ashes. As of Disney's recent merger with Fox, and much of the films having been reshuffled as a result, the film series is inevitably going to be rebooted under the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which actually was kind of alluded to given how the special ops team in the climax is referred to as the MCU. I see what you did there. I mean, and whatever direction they decide to take it, I'm all for. Given how, as opposed to other franchises, as they're trying to do this with to very good success, this is one series that actually could work with the direction they're going, given how by the very nature of what the X-Men material is, a main sense, given how this series has gone on with. I mean, I actually don't mind they're not doing it right away. Like, hey, given how I wasn't expecting to see anything like that until Phase 4, the earliest. I mean, whenever that might be, and especially given how many other ideas I had even before the original ones even got made. They originally were going to try. Have been trying to get them. They originally were trying to do it in the '80s with Bob Hoskins as Wolverine, of all people. And I think people initially had plans with Jackman. And maybe it's also an admission that's okay to move on, man. I mean, I definitely will get into how significant of the original X-Men and films were for how we reignite the big budget comic movie. But admittedly, the series has shown its age with this film, and in many ways, it's just I don't hate this movie by any means. It's just that it's it could have been a lot better finale, given how I wasn't expecting something on the same level as Avengers Endgame, which to me holds a crown for how to do a comic book story finale right. But at the very least, it's not horrible. I mean, it's definitely not the worst X-Men movie. but it's definitely one I would say it's very average. I mean, in a sense, if it's and to further this diminishing return, I think this had the least amount of people I've seen at theater in a long time. I was one of only 9 people in there, not even double digits. Even Fan Stick, I was one of at least 20 people in that movie. And even when I went to go see Detective Pikachu again, and there were about the same 20 people I was when I went opening day. But, and anyway, I definitely gotta say that I'll give this movie like a decent 2.5 stars out of 4. I mean, before I have like a reference on coming attractions. Yeah, real quick, no particular order. It's just to fix something I screwed up the last time earlier. Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker, Spider-Man Far From Home still like fun. I mean, Gemini Man, might wait for the DVD of that, just think it looks kind of strange. I am still utterly baffled by Hobbs and Shaw, to be honest. Joker might be cool, although. So, yeah, the original take for this kind of got messed up, and I actually didn't realize I actually used the wrong one, so. So now I actually end up doing my own reshoots for this vid, so this is definitely a version you're going to be seeing right next time, and I got another video ready to go, and I'll talk to you again soon.